It's always hard for me to leave a home I've lived in. I grow attached to objects as if they had souls. And even when I go away for a short time, I wander from room to room to take leave of them. After I stroke the furniture and hold a parting ceremony, I sing the tune of the French song, "To part is to die a little, partir c'est mourir un peu." When we sold our Tudor City apartment in New York, the buyer asked that we leave only the double bed and piano for her. Leaving a country is a long and arduous move, and when our scheduled date of departure was postponed, we found ourselves stuck in an empty apartment with only a bed and a piano. Never mind, just a week, I thought. I'll go to the movies, museums, bookstores, and cafes. The time will go by quickly. The first day passed pleasantly. So did the second. It snowed on the third day, and I returned tired and frozen to the empty apartment after seeing 2 films that morning. I'd eaten at a restaurant and browsed through a bookstore, and thought that it was a pity there wasn't a comfortable armchair in the apartment to curl up in under a warm blanket and read by the light of a standard lamp. I saw a small coffee table with a gilded frame and legs that had been discarded on the street corner by one of the neighbors. After looking to the right and the left to make sure no one would catch me in the act, I took it. For a moment, I played with the idea of refurnishing the entire apartment. On our return to Israel, we received a call from Daniel Gertler, a pianist who performs all over the world. He said that he was off to New York for a month and this time had not found a place to stay with friends. I told him, well, we still have possession of our apartment for another month, and although it is empty, it does have a bed and a piano, so if that doesn't bother you, you can sleep there. Bother me, Daniel laughed. You know that unlike you, I'm not attached to walls and objects. A bed and a piano are exactly what I need. The first day passed pleasantly, so did the second. It snowed on the third day, and Daniel returned, tired and frozen, to the empty apartment. And after walking the streets for hours, he spotted a rose-colored armchair in the street corner. One of its legs stuck out to the side, but it was nonetheless an armchair. He took it up to the apartment and set it down in the center of the living room. And then he felt like drinking hot tea from the mug he found on the kitchen shelf, but he had nothing to boil water in. Daniel put on his jacket and went down to the neighborhood supermarket. He bought a small, inexpensive pot with a wooden handle, some Earl Grey tea, and instant coffee. Daniel went upstairs, made tea, and sat down to practice on the piano. On the following day, he met an Israeli friend who lived in New York and told him about the apartment. "What?" the friend exclaimed. "How can you manage without a lamp?" "I have one I don't need anymore. I can give it to you." Daniel took it and put it beside the armchair, creating a cozy and inviting corner. But something was missing. The room needed a spot of color, flowers. So Daniel went down again to the flower stall at the end of the road and bought a bunch of roses. So time passed, and meanwhile additional objects made their way to the apartment. A poster from a renowned gallery that Daniel visited, a faded rug he found on the sidewalk, and a wooden chair with a straw back that had unraveled a little. Daniel began to feel at home. Finally, his stay in New York came to a close, and he wondered what to do with the objects he had lovingly collected and was emotionally attached to. With a heavy heart, he took the whole lot to the neighborhood trash collection point. Afterward, he stood for a while at the corner to see if anyone fancied the discarded items. There was no one. Before leaving the apartment, with his case in one hand and the key in the other, he stood at the door, turned round once more, and looked sadly at the empty room that had been his home. He felt a strange longing pinch at his heart, and a sense of loneliness. Daniel set down his luggage, strode over to the piano, sat on the stool, and without paying attention to what he was doing, began playing the melody of the song, "Each time we say goodbye, I die a little." Chanson de l'adieu.